The stock market finished with a boom today. Nice to see all that green reacting to President Trump pausing most of his tariffs on the world for 90 days after injecting mass chaos and fear in the markets. That pause does not include the tariffs he's imposing on China. Trump hiked that tariff rate to 125%. So what made Trump blink or cave or change his mind, whatever verb you prefer? He said his decision, quote, came together early this morning and, quote, was written from the heart. Whatever that means. It probably also had to do something with the bond market, he said, which is usually safe in times of uncertainty. It didn't appear that way this morning, of course. Here's Trump.
I was watching the bond market. The bond market is very tricky. I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy.
They were getting the yips, he said. CNN's Richard Quest is with us now. Richard, Trump claims that China wants to make a deal. If you were a betting man, do you think China and the United States are going to come to an agreement? Do you think China's going to cave? Do you think the U.S. is going to cave?
I think China is going to watch to see whether or not you sort of do tit for tat, but the tit for tat gets lower and lower and lower until you end up somewhere in the middle. And that's why I think the 125 is an interesting number that Trump went for, from 104 to 125. Is that number just small enough that China can either live with it or just about beat it? Because at some point, one side or the other is going to telegraph that they are ready to meet. The only thing against what I've just said, to argue completely against myself, is that the Chinese statement overnight is that they are in this to the bitter end. And that's the worrying part, because China maybe just was written off the United States for the foreseeable future and is just going to go head-to-head, toe-for-toe. We're going to have to wait for a few more hours to see if they match the 125 from Donald Trump.
And Richard, Goldman Sachs says Trump's trade retreat has not changed their own recession forecast, even though the stock market went up today. Its best day in 16 years, still not back to where the stocks were when Trump announced so-called Liberation Day. Are the gains today, is it like pushing an old lady down the stairs and then wanting credit for helping her back up at the bottom there? How do you see it?
That's very
thank you.
That's very
I made Richard laugh. All right.
I was going to sort of say it's like the arsonist calling the fire brigade and then taking credit. Similar sort of idea. No, this is why Goldman is saying what it's actually said. Number one, you still have the auto tariffs. Number two, you still have the steel and aluminium tariffs. Number three, you have the Chinese tariffs at 125%, the largest bilateral trade relationship. And number four, you have a new global US tariff of 10%, which is 3 times the previous average of 2.5%. So yes, the worst in terms of Japan, South Korea, the EU has been staved off, but there is so much tariff in the system at the moment that's just going to wash over the global trading system. We are so far from being out of this.
All right, Richard Quest, thanks so much. Before pausing the tariffs, President Trump posted this morning, quote, "Be cool. Everything is going to work out well," unquote. Moments after he made his big reversal, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tried to take a victory lap.
Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here.
Joining us now, someone who knows the inner workings of the Trump White House well, former White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah Griffin. Alyssa, how did you take that? Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. When President Trump, in his own words, made it very clear that this didn't seem to be part of any strategy. He just saw that people were getting queasy.
Right. I mean, listen, this was clearly, and Donald Trump said as much on the South Lawn, that he was looking at the bond markets collapsing, and that was what forced his hand into this reversal. And this, from from an outsider's perspective, but who was once an insider there, I get the sense that a lot of the major decisions these past few days have been made in a very small circle, and a lot of the communication staff and the staff who are going on television talking about what's going on are often kind of behind the curve in the president's decision making, because we were repeatedly repeatedly told this is not a negotiation. Then Donald Trump says it is a negotiation. And beyond that, I do believe the White House is hearing from foreign leaders, but more importantly, they're hearing from business leaders who a lot of them bet big on Donald Trump. They thought he was going to be good for the economy. They were expecting Trump term 1 all over again. And then they saw the markets in shambles. So I think his hand was forced here. And thank God you're hearing a big sigh of relief from Capitol Hill and from our allies around the world right now.
You say during your time at the White House, trade advisor Peter Navarro, who Elon Musk has been insulting over and over this week, that Navarro sometimes presented ideas that were half-baked, but there's still a lot of loyalty between Trump and Navarro. Today, Republican Senator Rand Paul, who doesn't believe in tariffs, he called Navarro a walking economic fallacy, which is, I should note, at least nicer than Elon Musk saying he's dumber than a stack of bricks. Do you think Navarro's days are numbered at all in the White House, or Trump doesn't care about any of that?
I actually don't think they are. I think Peter Navarro will be around. I think perhaps his influence over global markets and sweeping trade policy may be sidelined. He's a person who, listen, if you listen to him in a small, narrow way and then take in the advice of other people, could potentially be helpful to the president. But what this White House wasn't able to do based on what I'm going to call the Navarro plan that they rolled out is explain exactly what the full plan is. Is it full reindustrialization of the U.S.? Are we trying to bring back every factory that was lost? Are we cutting off basically all foreign trade and thinking we're going to be able to build everything from iPhones to sneakers here? And that aspect of it just was not clearly articulated. I think Donald Trump feels some alignment with Navarro and his policies, but he's a businessman who understands how you create jobs and how you keep an economy going, and Navarro's ideas are just the antithesis of how you do that.
All right, Alyssa Farah-Griffin, thank you so much. Our panel's here now. The Navarro Conundrum. That's like a Robert Ludlum book. I don't know if you read it. Phil, according to the latest jobs report, there are nearly 500,000 vacant manufacturing jobs right now. Now, Trump's talking about bringing manufacturing jobs back to the United States, which sounds wonderful. But if there are 500,000 vacant manufacturing jobs right now, are those jobs even desired by people?
It is a question that has not been answered by the Trump administration, in part because they just aren't anywhere close to that point yet. Like, that would probably be viewed as a good problem to have, where all the manufacturing has actually moved back to the United States and we're trying to train a workforce. But it is a clear reality right now in the marketplace. Manufacturing has changed dramatically over the course of decades. It is so tied to automation and technology, robotics, that the types of jobs are high-skilled labor. Now, to be very clear, J.D. Vance, Vice President, a speech at a summit a couple of weeks ago made clear they're not trying to create manufacturing jobs that would be equivalent to cheap labor back in the United States. They want innovation. They want those types of high-skilled jobs when those manufacturers come back. But it gets at, I think, an issue that people don't necessarily grasp, with good reason. There's been some serious stuff going on, which is the number of things that have to connect and go right for the Trump administration's theory of the case to be borne out are very complicated and very tied to things that are out of their control. And right now, they're just trying to kind of get out of the gate on some level.
Yeah, and J.D. Vance 2.0, as opposed to the one we have now at 3.0, said that he didn't think protectionism was the way to bring back these jobs. It needed to be addressed with automation and education.
Right, he shifted. I should note, our colleague Samantha DeLuca has a great piece on this. It's running tomorrow on .com. Like, read it. It's much smarter than what I was trying to roll through.
No, you were great. Ashley, it seems like not even the U.S. Trade Representative knew that this change, that this pause for 90 days was going to happen. He was testifying before the Ways and Means Committee in the House of Representatives when it happened. Take a look.
How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've been
So
in
the
this
trade
hearing.
representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've
And
just
yet
been in the hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet. WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned,
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs.
So Ashley, Chuck Schumer on the other side of Congress, the Senate Democratic leader, he called this a government of chaos. Do you think, what do you think is the role for Democrats here? Because I've also seen Democrats trying to say, well, some tariffs are good, I like some tariffs, these ones are not good, but what should be the role of your party?
Well, I mean, I think that what they need to do is lay out the case that there's two things at play here. It's one, either sheer incompetency on the part of the president, or he's intentionally trying to tank the U.S. economy. I happen to think it's actually both of them. And I think that is a position
You think he's trying to tank the economy?
there is no other way to explain it. How else do you explain the sort of haphazard nature of it all? How else do you explain that markets have been dropping and tanking globally for weeks and he still continues to pursue this effort? I don't understand it. And then more importantly, we've learned the lessons from his first term where there was a mixed bag in terms of results of his tariff agenda. So I don't know how else to explain it. And I think that is what the party needs to put forward to the American people. And then really make the case that the people who are the victims of all this chaos, it's the American people, from their pocketbooks to their retirement. That's what's actually suffering right now. And let's just take a step back, because this is the one thing I think my party has failed to really lay out. And that is less
There's
than
only
3
one thing
months.
you think your party's
Yeah,
failed?
I mean, effectively, less than 3 months into this administration, we're talking about a recession.
Yeah.
I mean, let me repeat that. A recession
Right.
in less than 3 months. That is remarkable.
And it's people
It's unprecedented.
like
And
Jamie Dimon talking about a recession.
absolutely, but it's the people on the ground who are already feeling it. That's why they protested all weekend. This is why Republicans are trying to rein in the president on this tariff agenda. I mean, it's a real thing, but my party's failing to really lay that out.